The 13th floor. The 13th floor.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 13th floor. The furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. Somehow I got handed the baton this week, but I got all my guys here. And since we don't always get to shout them out first, I'll go ahead and shout them out. Brett Jones, what's happening, sir?
I'm good, man. In a constant state of confusion right now, but we're gonna be all right.
In a constant state of confusion. Okay, all right. You gonna be all right though?
Yeah, man. Once I, figure this thing out, sleep on it a little bit, and put some plans in place, and then we'll be good to go. I had to, I'm looking at myself being named Carol, so I had to fix that first, and now everything else is gonna flow from there. Can't wear those shoes yet. I can't wear those shoes.
Hey, listen, your foot. What size shoe you wear?
By your size. No, I'm just playing.
Right? About to get robbed. That's how shoes was.
That's funny. So what size shoe you wear?
Depending on what shoe it is, 10 and a half, 11.
Oh yeah, my shoe's too big for you. Sorry.
There it is, see? I
Nice.
still got a ways to go before I get that wisdom in my beard. You know what I'm saying?
A ways to go, and I even got it coming in on the sides now. So
Ooh,
yeah. I listen. I just want it to go all gray.
there you go.
It's the easiest thing, bro.
Be done with
I
it.
like this. I like the spottiness of it. Like I'm actually looking forward to when my locks actually get the little gray clusters or whatever. And I think, yeah, I like the way that looks.
Okay. Speaking of big shoes, Faison, what's happening?
Living life, man. I was awakened today at the ceremony or the burial ceremony. Had some cool I like throwing statues, surprise. Cool message today that I would love to share to you guys later on. So I'm gonna hold on to that till later. But it was good.
Okay. Who if you don't mind us asking, was this a close friend or a coworker or
Yeah, it was a stepfather-in-law. Grandfather. Step-grandfather-in-law.
your step grandfather-in-law? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hold on there. Who's that?
Oh.
Huh?
All right, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna have a
yeah.
Oh, look at the cut.
Oh,
Got the
Hey.
Boosie fade going on. What's happening, bro?
what's up, big sir?
What's up, man? Been a minute. Nah, don't get shot now.
Good night, son. All right.
Well, good night, buddy.
You out of here?
Bye, Asha.
He said he made his appearance. He good now.
As say left. Gotcha.
All right. Without further ado, BJ, Mr. Logistics, welcome.
Oh, good. We here. We ready to go, man. Ashley threw me off, man. I'm like, did we do me? No, we didn't. It was good, man. I'm here. It's been a long week, crazy week, but we're good to go. Always running.
Nice. Good to hear. So, fellas, man, homecoming just happened. I think Faison was the only one that can make it.
Yeah.
And BJ is always down there at some point. So, how was it? What was the energy like?
You know what? I think this is probably one of the best ones I've seen in a while. The way that the way the team separated things out, like the main patio where we used to hang out and chill out between the library and the UC. They had a huge stage there. They did the whole little Hurricane Alley this time around, first year. So you can walk around. They have food trucks out there. We've got tickets for free, I guess, whatever it may be for students. It was just nice. It was really nice to see all the booths out there and all the people were kind of just hanging out. Got to see them give the awards for, organized cheer and homecoming awards and seeing that stuff. So that was pretty cool. Good to see UBS still holding down organized cheer and holding down the float. And they came in third place. I think Federation of FEC came in first place, which they've done that for a while.
The Estudiantes Cubanos. Yeah.
You see.
Federation of Cuban Students.
Yes. So but it's always been FEC, ACS, and UBS were always the three contenders. So this year again, it was the same three. Now I need to talk louder. Okay. But that was pretty much the gist of it. And part of my voice, anyone who's listening to this, I am on sick leave for a while, so I'm trying to remain vocal. But it was awesome. And then the only thing that was weird was they because of all the new buildings between Eden and the old health center that's now the counseling center, they put up all in the Eden parking lot. They put up these new 5-story buildings that's kind of like zigzags back to their apartment complexes. So like back in 41K, it kind of goes all the way back in a zigzag, and that blocked all the wind on the rock, in the UC. So if you were sitting out there on the stage, it's just a hot box now because there's no wind blowing through there because the wind used to come from the Eden area into the UC. That's gone. So it's literally nothing there. So we had the alumni Avenue thing in there with all the drinks and the food, and it was just sitting in a little hot box. So that wasn't cool. But other than that, it was nice. It was just nice to see people there. And I got to see, I don't remember her name, but if you remember it clearly, BJ, you might know. The older lady who's always come by, black lady who's clean, take care of us, always around. I went back there and I saw her there and I was like, oh my God, you're still here. And she's like, yeah, everything's good. So she was like, how are you? It was good to see good faces that you haven't seen in a while, and they still know who you are, you know them, and the respect you got for them. Even though no matter what role they were in, they still were respected and they're still cool. And it was good to see them. They're looking good. She looks good. Like
Mary, but something's telling me
Mary's the lady that was in the UC. But you know what? We're not going to bore
sorry about that.
Go down memory lane. What you guys talking about right now? We apologize, ladies and gentlemen. All of us were super active when we were in college. We organized some of those events and whatnot. So a little flashback down memory lane. But B Jones, I want to come to you next because you weren't at homecoming, but little Kellen was out there doing his thing on the football field. Seemed like a proud daddy moment, man. So and you know, we gonna need some good sound clips like we got from the other Joneses. We need some sound clips on what was happening there.
Man, I sent the 3 in the chat group. So Ian, when you get a hold of them, make sure you go ahead and throw them in here and there.
Right here. There we go.
Let that ride for a minute, and then I gotta send the pics. You know, these 6-year-old flag champions down here in Lakewood, St. Petersburg, Florida. Shout out to them, and my son included. All of them. Hard work pays off, right? They got championship rings. So beyond being the proud pappy, and you know, seeing my son, well, not being there to physically see it, but seeing him run 3 touchdowns, you know what I'm saying, in the championship game or whatever. This dude he FaceTimed me and was like, look, because we talked prior to the game earlier in the week, and he was like, yeah, if we win, we get a ring. I'm like, okay, all right, sure, you get a ring. All right.
Jack ring.
Man, let me send y'all this picture, man. But yeah, that alone just tell you how the times have changed, man. It's crazy because these dudes, I mean, football in Florida is big time anyway, but they got like breast cancer awareness jerseys. You know, you getting championship rings and stuff. It's just a big production. Like, it's just big time already for him. So just to have him experiencing that success at an early age, it's great for me on one end, but it's a little scary on the other end because stuff like that can really go to your head real early. And he already is, you know, kind of a gifted child, kind of ahead of his class and everything, and needs to be challenged more. So when stuff comes way too easy, you tend to be less humble and less appreciative. So we had to kind of make sure we redirected his thoughts on certain things, and you know how he was talking about, you know, saying I won. No, the team won. You helped the team win, and keeping that stuff in perspective while still knowing, you know, yeah, you can get out there and, you know, do your thing or whatever. But it's amazing, man. Like, if I really, next year, like if they in the championship game, anything in my power, like I'm trying to be there. You know, I made 1 game this year. I want to make several games, you know, next year. But stuff like that, you know, that's the only downside to it. You want to be there in the moment to see those things. Just given the situation, though, it's not always possible. But still, man, hats off to them and him for that success. And it's good. You know, it's like a sign of things to come, you know, especially when, you know, you were an athlete and your son is already outdoing you at 6 years old. You know, that's what you want, right?
Wow. Okay.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. I'm just hoping mine does things I didn't even do.
Right?
Totally different situation, right? Here's where I want to go, fellas, and it's perfect. You know, you talk about achievements and goals, and it seems like more and more there's a phenomenon going on. There's a lot of people in our age range that it seems like all of a sudden there has been a spirit of entrepreneurship, a spirit of desire, a spirit of achieving more that has been awakened. And it's really funny, like no matter who you talk to, there is a struggle between what I would call being in the matrix, but being able to see outside of the matrix and what could be for you, and how you balance those things, and how you go through life just trying to achieve that next level of life. But then life happens and we don't know how to deal with that. We don't know who to go to for guidance on transitioning from classic definition of success to that otherworldly success that we all know is attainable, but there's no blueprint for it. So my question to you guys is, how do you even plan on making that transition? Because I think we're all somewhere in that phase. And Faison, you've been doing the most head nodding, so I'm going to come to you first with that. What does that look like for you? I know you've got some things that you've been doing in the forms of real estate and whatnot, but how do you plan on moving forward, and how do you plan on dealing with the obstacles that life throws at you?
Now it's just been kind of not listening to the book that was written, because most of those books have been changed and they're outdated. So you have to look at things and see how you can modify or adjust to you, where you're standing with, what you're seeing in front of you. Because anything's out there is always fear. I looked at it and I read, the other day I was reading a book, and I popped up that the youngest CEO to have her clothing line displayed at Target was 6 years old. And that made me think, like, at 6 years old, how does she have the mindset or thought? Was her parents, was it her? Did she factor going? And why did she not wait till later on to do something like that? So that the fact that her mom or her dad or maybe pushed her to do that at that age just shows that all the rules are changed and there is no rule game for this anymore. And especially for me in real estate, like there are so many old standards that's changed. And yes, there is the foundation you should use or that I'm using to understand it. But I'm also going around this with the thought set of me and my style, how I want to do it. So I'm putting my own touch on the entrepreneurship mindset of real estate, but then building it up to make sure that I can pass this down. So I'm okay making mistakes. I'm okay with overspending. I'm okay with doing the things because I'm not fearful that it's going to go to an end. I want to go in there and learn and get beat up a little bit. So having that fear of not being beat up is what I think's helped me the most.
So I want to do the takeaway. And you said something that was clutch. You said you're not listening to the traditional standard. However, you referenced it before you move forward. So reference it, but move forward and not listen to that classic or traditional thought process. And then two, not moving in fear, because at some point for exactly what you're doing with real estate, somebody had to test that out originally, right? To even establish that classic version, right?
Yep.
If they would have listened to everybody else, they probably would have never got there.
Exactly.
Right. If they would have went the classic way, there would have been no Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. I mean, there's so many books on what I'm doing with buy and hold, but I have to look at it, read it, understand it, and then make it mine. You can't follow. Yeah, you can't follow the system in place is there. It was in place years ago. The books were written years ago. If you try to do that same step, you're behind already. People were way ahead of you doing different things. So you got to take it as a foundation and put your own twist on it. You have to. Everything we do in life is that way.
Right. And fellas, feel free to jump in on this next one. But in the pursuit of that, so you talked about one thing, you talked about overspending. And that's a scary concept considering you have a spouse, you have 2 children. How does that reality of life not get in the way, and how do you keep going?
Well, that's just the support of those around you. Understand that, hey, listen, this is the timeline may not be a 2-year payback, maybe 3 years, but understand that you look at that and you budget out properly and say, hey, like, I know this investment is going to pay off later. And I know that by me spending an extra, let's say $1,000 on this roof now is going to affect me in 15 years. I don't worry about that now. But if I do a patch now, that can cause more issues. That can cause a deeper concern or more spending at the current rate. But then having support of my wife and saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This may cost me, or I may not be able to do certain things for the next couple of months, but I'll get it back later on and it'll work out fine. So just communication. I mean, you got to put it all on the table. You can't, if you're with the family, you got to put it on the table. You can't hide, or you can't not disclose everything you're doing because the decisions you make factor into your family. And if you hide that, then that's when problems arise. You can't do that. You got to be open book to those around you as you make those decisions.
I want to back up and I'll go to when you first started talking about fear, Art. That was actually my first response to the question. And I remember it being summed up years ago. I first heard it probably about 8-9 years ago now, as FOF and FOP, FOF, FOP, fear of failure and fear of people, right? And those are the 2 main areas. No matter what you think about what to do, we can say we don't care what people think, whatever. But at the end of the day, we make decisions, and a lot of times it could go back whether we make a decision to spend that little extra, or hold back. When they say fear, is not that they're going to do something to you, about what are they going to think, what are they going to say. And that comes back to spouses. It comes back to kids. It comes back to your mom and pops. It comes back to everybody who has, over the years, been pouring into you and trying to get you to fit in this box. And all of a sudden, it's like you had to have that awakening moment where this is not the path I need to be on, and I need to do something different. And the key, I believe, is that realizing up front that even the people that you love are not always going to support you, right? But that doesn't deter your dream. It should not deter your dream. And yes, it's hard, especially when it's a partner, or it's a family member, a mother, father, uncle, somebody who's close to you, who has poured so much into you, and they're not as supportive as you think they should be or wish they would be. And it's hard to kind of pull yourself back and just plow forward, though. Because, again, we talk a lot of times over the past 2.5 years now, almost 3 years now, we've talked about failure, how to bounce back, and that those I told you so people. But a lot of time, this new way of thinking, the new way, and I say new way of thinking, it's not really a new way, a new thought process for most people, let's put it that way. The new thought process is to not wait and follow the mold. Like you said, if somebody's done already, it's probably too late for you to go back and do it. So what am I going to bring to the table? What do I have? And I think for me, that's been the biggest thing. And I'll put together, if we talk about 13th floor, we talk about all the different projects we got on. Y'all know I'm the one that's probably been the latest person to speak up and talk about what am I going to do next. I've always been in the box of take the situation you're in now, learn all you can, take all you can from your surroundings and your situations, and then figure out how you're going to apply that in life. And I've been the one who's like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. I had a conversation that night that kind of reignited that initial vision of my school, of what I want to do and where I want to go. And I'm like, why am I not making that? And I'm thinking long term. I'm always thinking about what's next. So in the past few months, I've been thinking about, is it time to make another switch in the job force? But I have not, in total honesty and transparency, I have not thought about, is it time for you to go ahead and pursue that dream, right? Why haven't I done that? Why isn't that the forefront of my thought process, or I'm putting my energy, where I'm putting my strength? A lot of time is that the fear of failure or fear of people, right? Because I have a different type of lifestyle when it comes to a mortgage, when it comes to all that. And when you think about the possibility of of not being able to do that or working out the financial piece behind it, that's a big blow, a big question mark over your head and matter every single thing that you do. So when you, I'm not saying I don't have the support, but if that was a case, or you have to try to put, it's almost like you have to align everything, but also understand that alignment is never going to come. So why not go for that to start that business? Why not to go and start more investment in real estate? Why not going and doing the in the industry, in the cannabis industry, like Brett is doing? When we started to talk about mortar, probably a little over a year now, almost a year ago now, and talk about mortar consulting, and officially at the beginning of this year, that really was for me, like, you know what? This is the first step of doing something else. This is the first step of seeing a different way, a different venue of the box that I've been in for the past, 8-9 years. So,
And you know, the thing that I want to make sure that we point out is that I think we are ingrained to not want to fail, like you just said about mortgages and having things going forward. But you know, most people who've been successful, who are successful now, their first business was a complete flop. Second business was a complete flop. Third business was there. So they've struggled. And yes, they may have started a little earlier and they have more they could lose, not worry about that process. But you also can't be afraid to just bankrupt a business and be done and move on to a new one and all right, start from scratch again, and know that you can restart and you learn from those lessons that you have. Which leads me into a cool conversation I had over the weekend with a young, I'll say millennial, or not even millennial, he's probably 21 years old. And we were in a house chilling with a grandma, myself, a good friend of mine. So say ages 42, 39, 60, and 21. And just hear him say, well, I've had my jobs, and yeah, I got bored of my job. I don't want to do this anymore. This is different. But what I want to do is I want to do party rentals. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, you're in Miami. That makes complete sense. But then they hear grandma go, well, that's okay, but how are you going to make money off of that? And then hear his uncle say, well, it was hard against that rule. And I was like, no. If you want to do that, you got to go at it. I'm like, what you do is you get a job in that field. You take everything you want from that person you work for, and then you open your own. Like, don't, and if it doesn't work, oh, well, you're young enough to do your own career. But it was already, the first step was, I don't know that's going to work for you, but he had so much energy, and you could see it in his eyes. And he was like, I'm going to do this what I want to do. But if that conversation never happened right there in that spot, and if he had left, if I had left without saying anything, it could have deflated him. That could have pushed him back 3 years from him trying to do that same job. So hopefully me giving him courage to say, no, just go out there and do it. If it doesn't work, oh, well, you got time in your life. That's what we need now. And that's what's the difference between us and then, is that we have people now saying, go out and do it. Whereas our generation didn't have that. It was always a no, hold on, let's do it the slow way. So.
No, you're right. And I want to go back to the fear piece, because I feel like what happens to people is that you're not necessarily afraid. Like if you were by yourself and nobody was depending on you and nobody would see you do it, and you could do it without telling anybody, you would do it. You would do it all day. So it's not necessarily that you're afraid. You're afraid of people seeing you fail.
Fail people, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? You're not afraid of failing on you. If you fail by yourself and nobody knew, you wouldn't care. And the big thing is that people need to realize you're not that important. People really aren't looking at you like that to see if you failed or not. Most of the time you'll fail and people wouldn't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
Even know it.
They would think everything was good.
What they
Most people are failing. I'm making a general statement here, but if you look at, we always talk about the social media facade. Most people are failing at their public persona anyway. What they're putting on is a show for everybody else. And again, that's not everybody I know, but everybody's relationship that you see on Facebook, everybody's business, everybody's job is not the glory, and they get up and go and look forward to doing every single thing they do every day. So they're already at a point where they're just it's a fake persona, a mask.
Look, I would say people are failing at having a persona.
I would agree, yes.
You don't have a true and consistent identity. You're constantly trying to change yourself to whatever situation you're in or environment that you're in, and that's not the way to go, because you're going to end up getting false results from putting yourself in those situations as a fake person.
Agreed.
But let's back up before we go too far, because we go off on a tangent on that all day. I want to go to Brett, because the other three of us have really traditional things that we're in right now, and even somewhat traditional spaces we're trying to get into, quote unquote. But he's trying to get into a space that has no blueprint, that has no look at this person, they were successful. As legislation goes, the innovation of and materialization of the cannabis industry goes. So
Right.
what is that like, Brett, trying to operate in that space where you don't know? You don't know what
It's
next 6 months from now looks like for that industry.
it can be very intimidating, and quite honestly, it can be very scary, because you have no blueprint, as you've alluded to. Your mentors are few and far between if you're not very active in trying to, or enthused and engaged in trying to find them. So it's not like any other industry at this point, and it's growing as it grows. You learn something new every day. Just today, I saw something. The FDA finally is allowing, I think, Yale University to actually conduct research on humans about the efficacy of cannabis for illnesses. It's 2019, about to be 2020, and the FDA is now about to allow these human trials to allow other businesses to be able to come into the market, and not just one, I think, European entity, GW Pharma, who owns Epidiolex, which is the legal form of cannabis medicine for seizures and such. So really, when you operating in that type of space with such uncertainty, you just have to do. You can't be afraid to fail. You have to be willing to learn, and whatever that looks like. And we talked about moving forward. In this type of space, you have to be willing to move, and know and trust yourself, and really work to find good people to like latch on to, that you can get good counsel. Because even though the cannabis industry is new and emerging for the most part, there are some people who've been in it for a while, especially if you start on the West Coast. There are a lot of transferable skills that, if you align yourself with the right people and your mission and values and things, all work together, you can get great advice, guidance on how to build yourself in that entity. So I think, the reason that we've learned so much over the past year, and it has been a year since we, started this journey, is because we moved, we made decisions. We made some bad decisions along the way. We got involved with some people that, looked really good on paper and weren't worth a damn, once, the final ball dropped and everything, everything was on paper. But we did that. We learned from it, and now we're better for it. And as long as we continue to move and move as we are aligned, we'll continue to do great things and continue to push forward and move forward. But you got to move, whether it's laterally, or even if it might feel like, you're moving forward, but you're really moving backwards. You're moving. And as you learn and adjust to your situation, things start to normalize and you start to move forward, expeditiously.
Expeditiously. Okay. Joe Clark, expeditiously.
Nah, man, that's TIP.
It's Joe Clark. I don't care what you say. TIP. Yeah, all right. But no, man, I mean, it's just so many, and I want people to understand that are listening, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, what you're trying to do. The point that we're trying to put out there in the conversation that we're having is really around you trying to do things, you having goals and objectives, and there being things in life that are going to come at you, but you have to have the perseverance to keep moving forward, and understand that you may not always have wind in your sails. Sometimes you're going to have to pull out that oar, and you're going to have to row the boat and not depend on wind, because you may not catch momentum for who knows how long. But if you give up, you'll never know where you could have gone, what your travels would have been, what you would have discovered, what you would have built. So you just, as you say, you just got to go into it and not be fearful. Just know whatever that calling is, that feeling that you have in your gut, that is a real thing that wants to come out that only you can deliver. So you just need to move forward with that and just know, hey, you're charged with this. It's not your best friend's charge. It's not your wife's charge. It's not your husband's charge. It's your charge. Hopefully every once in a while you can get a recharge from one of those people, but it's really you've been charged with this. So and look, in my space, shout out to y'all. I would say we want to look to y'all for sponsorship, but
They still out there though.
they are out there. I'm not interested. Let's get somebody new. TikTok, if you're out there, holla at us. But what I would say is, look, my space, personal development space, they call it still relatively new because 15 years ago, nobody would say you can make money in personal development space. But if you think about it, personal development has been here all along. What you send your child to school for? What did you go to school for? Every time that you're in a credible, a recognizable place of employment, they have plans to develop you. And as much as they think that it's a professional development space, it's really personal development. They're trying to develop your personal skill set and what it is that you can do to be a contributor, but then they label it as it's professional development because they don't want you to get the notion that you can go do it on your own. They want you to feel like you have to be at that job in order to get those skills, when no, that's about your life. And you don't even have to be at that job to get it. You could call me. I help you out. I promise you I will. You can call BJ. He'll help you out. I promise you he will. Matter of fact, you could leave a comment on this video if you're watching it on YouTube, or you can leave it on iTunes, on Google Play, on SoundCloud, wherever it is, and we will help you out. I guarantee you we will. And if we won't, we know somebody that might.
Let's do this. The first person that comments, we're gonna have a personal conversation. See if we can help them get there.
Okay, yeah. So the first person to comment, and you can't be one of our relatives. Yeah, we know. Sorry, we know you slick folks out there that just want to spend time with us and talk to us. Yeah, we can do that offline. But the first person that's not related to anybody affiliated with the 13th floor, we'd be more than happy to reach out to you and possibly lead you in a direction. We do have resources. We have people that we can put you in touch with, but let us know what the goal is and what you're trying to do. We'd love to support you. Man, the life part, I feel like we didn't make that real plain and clear for people. And look, as you set out to do things, it just seems like life will just conspire against you and throw all types of stuff. You know what I mean? You're going to get a flat tire that's going to make you spend that $50 that you should have invested in whatever it was, or go get that book that you should have got. And what I'll tell you is you just need to extend yourself and make it happen. I mean, don't put yourself at risk, but sometimes you have to take a risk.
All right, so I come to a point. As long as it ain't gonna affect my family eating, the lights staying on, make the investment.
Let's take it a step further, right? Because it all comes down to what we perceive as eating, right? Your family don't have to eat filet mignon.
Correct. I mean, surviving. Like, if we got to go back rice and beans, we good. That's what we're going to do.
Right. But I say that to say some people don't want to give up the life they currently have for the life that they could have.
Mm-hmm.
That may be turning in that Mercedes or that Lexus payment and going back to a used Honda payment in order to pursue your dream.
So you can end up with a Maserati, which is a piece of junk. Don't buy it. But you just don't know. You want to give up what you have, given half effort, what you have, being just an average person, and you don't want to give that up, even though you could give that up, take a risk, and end up getting what a great person could have.
Right.
And then if you average, guess what? You can always come back to average. You've mastered that. Most people walking out there have mastered average.
That's a fact.
And people are going to let you back in to being average whenever you want, because guess what? There is somebody that is great that is running that average place that you work at, and they would love to have you back in there and not competing with them.
Mhm.
Man, I don't even know where to go.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I don't even know where to go. That's why I don't moderate, because I get caught up and I forget about everybody else. I just start talking.
Huh.
Man, listen, I tell you what, we're gonna take you to B. Jones' seeded farm and see what
Boom.
knowledge he has for us.
To what?
Your seeded farm. It's a cannabis farm.
My seeded farm.
Yeah, it's a place where you go to get lifted.
Oh man, so what we doing here, man? What we doing here? What am I dropping knowledge now?
I don't know, man. We just developed a section for you,
A
man.
whole new section.
There
We
you
don't
go.
have a section, man. So we just developed something for you, man. Just speak from your heart, man. People don't get to hear you all the time. They don't give.
Bro, they
We don't
hit
get free reign.
every week doing the same thing you just did. Very well though.
As the moderator, but this is your chance to kind of throw the extra spice on it, man.
I
Facts.
do want to go back to something I think that we might have glossed over real quick though, because you talked about the gut feeling and following that, and I think that is, depending on how strong it is, that's what kind of gets you past those moments where you feel like, you know, you don't have like the support, or life is just throwing every monkey wrench that it can at you. But your gut, you know, what is your gut telling you? How strong is that feeling? How much desire does that have? Is that fueling, you know, for whatever?
Man, and what about the recent science and discovery that says that the gut is your second brain? What about that? What about all the stuff that they say your gut is actually in charge of? And what if your gut was the thoughts and the things that you should do without emotion?
Just saying, go with your gut, man. Keep it in mind. Keep it strong. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's there for a reason. Like, it's in you. It's innate. You know what I'm saying? That is like kindred. It's like second nature to your spirit, man. Go for what you know within your gut. Like, follow it, and that's gonna lead you. That's really all I have, man.
Wow. That's
Nah,
good.
That's beautiful, man. That's good. That's good. That's good, man. Faison, I'm coming to you. What's Faison's corner?
You know, I mentioned earlier today, I went to a wonderful burial ceremony for my stepfather-in-law, step-grandfather-in-law. And the pastor went through and did his eulogy and everything needed to be said. But he did a nice sermon on time. And he talked about the importance of everyone always waiting for the right time. So this podcast today really focused on that. Waiting on the right time to do what you need to do. And he obviously made it centered around coming home and coming back to the church, going back to, you know, to the Lord or whoever you praise. But that message stuck out to me that you can't wait. You can't say, oh, I'll get this done tomorrow, or I'll open a business when I sell this, or when I do my first design for this logo and I start the business. Those things can't wait. You have to do what you want to do now, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Everyone's on a certain time clock. Everyone's time clock is different. And just as though most of us live through the ability to invest in Amazon, to invest in Google, to invest in Apple, everyone saw these things, and we saw the time. You had the time to do so. You had the money to do so. Even if it was $20, you had the time to do so, and we let time pass. That's the one commodity we can't get back, is time. So if you're thinking about something and I'm going to use the gut reference, and it's in your gut and you want to do that, do it now. Never say, I will do this when, or I'll complete this mission once I do this task, because that task may never be done. Maybe an ongoing task that you never get to do. So, you know, just get it done, do what you got to do, and don't be afraid to jump, because sometimes you got to jump to go to the next step. And if time is holding you back, you never get that back.
That's all I can say. I don't even know if everybody heard that. Yeah. BJ, what you got, man? Feel free to just say, man, I pass, I tap, but
I can't tap on that one, because it's ironic that we're talking about all this stuff and everything's moving in the right direction. And actually, one of the songs that that my pops used to play all the time when I was younger. That I always knew, but I never really held on to the lyrics.
Go ahead,
It's
sing it for
called-
us.
Huh?
So go ahead,
Go
sing
ahead,
it for us.
for us.
Oh, no. You don't want me to do that. We'll have no listeners left.
You like borderline pastor now, man. Pastors always get up there.
We didn't know that I didn't inherit that talent at all, and I'm trying to fake it. It's actually called "Tomorrow" by the Winans, and it is a gospel song, but it's about why put off tomorrow what you could do today. Now, whether you want to take a religious standpoint from it or not, it is not really the thing. It fits right in what Art was just talking about. Again, if you're talking about starting that business, if you're talking about making a decision on something to do with your family, like stop waiting for tomorrow. One of the things I decided I was going to do this year, and anybody who knows me, I don't really celebrate my birthday. I don't want to do something. I don't have anything big, whatever. But something hit me this year is like really, and again, all these things come at different times of life, but I think it's for a reason. Like this year, I'll be 39 years old. 40 is not promised. Why am I going to wait to 40 to do a big shindig, right? If I want to do it, why am I wait to 40? And I go back to my pops. My pops was 49 when he passed. And we had already started talking about what he wanted to do probably for his 50th birthday. And we never got to bring that to fruition. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about what I want to do, where I want to go for my 40th. I think this year, Ali, I'm going to just start. And I'm not a yearly person type thing. But I'm going to break the mold and not worry. I don't care about the 40th. 39 is here, what we're going to celebrate. I'll worry about that 2 weeks before my 40th birthday. Like this year, we're going to do something. I'm going to do something different. But I want to do it because I want to be surrounded by my family and my friends. So we're going to be here. You're going to be hearing stuff in the next couple of weeks. You guys are going to be, not everybody. You guys, this podcast is going to be hearing
Y'all
stuff.
coming to the new house.
Hey, we're not even going to be in the house,
And it's
man.
still pool season down there.
Yo, I'm gonna put the idea there now. We're gonna have adult recess for my birthday. We're going back to school.
Kickball and all?
Adult recess.
Dodgeball?
Dodgeball, kickball. We're gonna have adult recess day.
With it.
So y'all get the date. And my birthday falling on Saturday this year. Is the stars are aligning. And again, it's a kind of a short notice for those that are gonna be traveling. But I like, why am I gonna wait till 40 when I have no idea if tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up? What I want to do, I want my kids to see everything. I want my kids to meet everybody. They know you, but they don't know every single person that I consider my family, my friends, right? I want them to see interacting because day to day, I'm on a schedule. I'm doing stuff with them, but I'm just going back through the motions to move to the next step. I need to stop for a few minutes and just enjoy life and recognize those around me that helped me get to the point where I'm at right now. Pay homage to them, but also pay homage to make it another year and look forward to possibly celebrating that 40th. And if I make it, the Lord let me see that 40th, then we'll celebrate again. But I stop putting off and wait to that 40th to do something big and different. So if I leave with anything, celebrate the moment, live in the moment. And again, when you come to the next one, make it bigger and better because tomorrow's not promised. But that song, Tomorrow by the Winans, if you get a chance, go look it up.
So, BJ, before we get off of you and head to Coach K to close us out, we got to check in, man.
How you just come back in and try to take over the show now?
I'm trying to do you a favor, man.
Before we close out with you and close out with Coach K and blah, 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 like you've been leading the whole thing the whole time.
No, man, I was just trying to give you the platform that you need. I'm trying to throw it out there for you to put it in the hole. What are we talking about?
What makes you think that I couldn't be a play creator for myself?
You probably can, but a friend can do that, gracefully for you, what you can't do for yourself.
Go ahead, man. Do what you're doing, man.
BJ, we had a check-in, man. We were supposed to be on this healthy living, eating stuff as we talked about on the spirituality, the plant-based spirituality podcast. So I want to check in with you, see how that's going.
All right, so I've made a couple of days a week. So at the last week, about 4 days, I've added at least one thing to my diet on different times. So one day was a plant-based smoothie. I can't even remember which one it was.
Where'd you get it from?
It was Jamba Juice, Art. It was Jamba Juice. Yeah, we gotta talk about the one down here though. I don't really like it, but anyway, I don't like the environment.
I understand. We'll talk.
One day, last night, actually, and the kids, they all in bed right now, so I can say it out loud. So I substituted the crumbles Ian was talking about, the Beyond Meat crumbles, and for the spaghetti last night. My oldest son, he killed it, like hands down. Just like my youngest son, Cameron, he was like, something tastes different, but it's still good. Madison, she ate some of it and then picked some of it out because she's very picky, so she could taste the texture.
Girls, man.
So
Nia's the same freaking way.
So she did it, but she didn't really say that, and I still haven't told him what it was. But again, he had it for lunch again today and killed it. I bought it was another day I did something else. I was just like salad. I didn't no meat or nothing that day. And then I bought the sausage, the Italian sausage. I haven't cooked those yet. I got them in there.
Beyond ones?
Yeah, the Beyond.
Yeah, the Beyond Burger, beyond everything, man. It's amazing.
So, but I'll tell people this, like, as I start pricing it out and everything, like, it's not cheap to do it though.
Oh, absolutely not.
And that's how if you want to be healthy, you're gonna have to pay the price. Because even to get two, I didn't get the burgers, but I picked up the pack of burgers. It was like $8.50, $8.99.
It's $8.50 up there, or
There's
down?
only 2 burgers in there.
It's only $6 here, but
It was like I was at Publix. But that's only one place I looked at so far though. I was at Publix and I was checking out the crumble, so I saw them next to it. There was 2 burgers in the package, were like $8.49 to $8.99, something like that.
Damn.
Listen, they got to make up for no state tax somewhere.
Pretty much.
I guess so.
But we still doing it again. I've cut out. I still haven't had any beef since beginning of last week sometime. You do feel the difference. Some chicken has been there, some fish has been there, but for the most part, trying to cut back at least, like you said, one meal a day or one thing. I could definitely feel the difference already. It just going through the day. But yeah, I need to be more diligent and writing it down and keeping a log of what I'm actually doing. And so I can go back day by day and do stuff and then compare what my blood sugar is later on.
There's an app for that. I don't know what it is. Carol probably do, but there's an app for that.
The app you're looking for that is called Chronometer, Chronometer. That is by way of my boy Jay Dace. I have been using that for my training process. Chronometer.
Chronometer, you could be a sponsor too. Don't be scared.
One of these days, somebody that actually works for one of these places is going to listen to the podcast and reach out to us.
Yes. Yes.
We just need to start tagging them every time. Let's go.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yep. Somebody's listening. You know somebody that wants to sponsor something. We got something for them to sponsor. Let's go. Reach out to us.
Exactly.
Supposed to be reaching out to us anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, since my man hasn't jumped in yet to let y'all know, once again, you can listen to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, Vimeo. Who am I missing?
That's it. Oh, that's all the major ones. It's everywhere. It's out there in the podcast diverse.
Yeah, we're everywhere. We're everywhere. Somebody has the hookup at Tidal. We want to get the Tidal. We're gonna make it happen, man. I'm gonna stop asking y'all for favors, man. You know what I mean? We gotta listen to our own advice, and we're gonna have to make these things happen. This podcast needs to get more listeners and be spread more places. So Zimbabwe, we hear you, man. We out here. Let the people know.
Yep.
So Coach K, go ahead and close this thing out for us. Okay, Brett, I'll do that. So BJ was talking about a song called Tomorrow by the Winans, and that just brought me to something. And I'm gonna say a quote, and it's from a song. And it says, "If tomorrow is light in a place where there's none, then know that now is the time to have faith in us. You know, we're all in this world and we all can belong. We got to get up, get out, get over it, and get it on to be strong." Man, talk about just timely. Some of you got to get up, stop being lazy. Don't believe that tomorrow's there. You got to get out, meaning that you got to go out, you got to expose yourself. You got to meet people that can help you open up some of these doors. You got to get over it being yourself. Get over yourself. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Don't be afraid to say, I need help. Get over what that thing is that is preventing you from taking that next step. Your father wasn't in your life. Your mom passed. You dropped out of school. You got kicked out of school. Get over it. You're not that important. Nobody cares. That thing that you're holding back, that's what's important. And you need to get to that. So get over it. Get it on to be strong. And we want to see you there. We want to help you out. So once again, reach out to us. Thanks for listening. Peace from the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing.
Amazing. That first comment.
The 13th floor.
TC. Nice. That was awesome. TC.
The 13th floor.